the competition is fierce. It's literally throat cutting competition, as we call it. Of course, not everybody can get rank one. Only one student can get rank one, and we all are fighting for it. So mathematically, it's proven that most will be disappointed. I just thought that at most 300 signatures and then the petition will die. But that did not happen. Quite the opposite happened. It just kept gaining momentum. People kept sharing it. It got popular, especially in Kota, in my coaching institute, especially, and then kind of blew up. So now it has become my brainchild, and now I have to keep see over it.
I think personal factors, social factors, and the general environmental factors are very much responsible for it. When we're talking especially about young adults who are aspiring for the competitive exams, I think the word competitive exam itself highlights the pressure that they have to go through. And knowing that if personally as an individual I have certain personality characteristics, certain traits which already makes me vulnerable to a certain stand to understand myself or cope with certain level of stress, then I think it increases the tendency of an individual to develop these maladaptive behaviors. The lack of communication, the lack of effective communication, heartfelt communication, sentimental communications which are required to be done to release the pressure, to release the stress, and find more adaptive mechanism which can help the person to deal with these pressures. Every time whenever the suicidal behavior has turned into a complete suicide, they always say that I did not know how to handle. And staying away from family does not mean that emotionally you're away from family. You always have phones to reach out to them. You always have the way of knowing and letting them know that what's going on in your mind.
So the student and the general public are kind of not much aware about mental health. So what happens is that if some student is in a bad condition, they need help, kind of it promotes the person or the student to not ask for help. Let me explain this through an example. Let's consider that a student has been scoring very bad marks and is struggling with the studies, and he or she is kind of depressed now. So what happens is that we kind of, the culture here is somewhat as if we are calling out those who committed suicide as cowards and idiots. And we think that with this argument, students would not commit suicide. But the effect is just opposite. What happens is that because we are calling them idiots and stupid, they kind of think this kind of destroys the self-worth of those who are currently in depression, and it pushes them more into the abyss of depression, abyss of anxiety, abyss of sadness. So the journey just becomes unrecoverable. You cannot recover from that. And that goes on to become a new suicide case.
If they're able to see certain trends in their thought which is making them think of that I don't want to live anymore, I want to quit, I can't do it, I will not be able to survive. So these are called suicidal talks. If anyone around in the space is hearing to these suicidal talks or these verbatums, or if the person himself or herself is realizing that why am I talking all that, like, is it something that's there, that's what I feel. So I think the right information of seeking professional help and early intervention and early identification is extremely important.
I mean, life has been usual, I would say, of course, because the best things that the administration did was that first they kind of started installing nets in coaching institute to prevent students from jumping off of buildings, which of course is not an effective way, I guess, to prevent suicide. And second is that they installed springs in fans, and I have criticized both of them in my petition too, right? And talking about the third is that they introduced the concept of fun day. And basically what fun day is that on Wednesday or Saturday, it depends on the coaching, at least once a week they will, I mean, cut off 30 or 45 minutes from our class time, and then do anything with students. I mean, have fun or just sing a song or dance or whatever, play a game, anything, or do any activity like paint in that 40-minute time. So I think that's something good. But what happened is that after 1 or 2 weeks, now as time passed, when that fun day is being kind of cancelled, right? So that fun day time is being used in to complete classes. We are kind of between a war called JE, in a battlefield called JE, and that becomes an issue. And what happens is that because our emotions are so diverse at this point, we feel a lot of emotions at the same time. You can feel worthlessness, helplessness, and also kind of egoism all at the same point. Solution is that you increase awareness about other institutions than IITs, because in Kota there is also a stigma that there is IIT and there is non-IIT, right? I mean, students do disrespect jobs other than engineering or doctors because they think that either that IITians are very smart and non-IITians are idiots. So that is a very wrong concept. Students have created over time, because IIT is being glamorized here.
Let's take the recommendation from the primary, secondary and tertiary setup. The primary would be, of course, where the general psychosocial climate of the university should be taken care of. We use the word conducive, we use the word that it should be very empathetic, it should be very supportive, great amount of workshops, full of activities, interaction, dialogues, some level of conferences should regularly be done. Secondary would be this, where screening is happening. Which are those streams or which are those specific students that we are coming across in their verbatums, in their absenteeism, in their approach towards the professor, where it's looking like they're anxious, or it's looking like iski attendance bahut short hai, hamesha short ho rahi hai. I see him responding in a very aggressive way towards the fellow mate, student or the professor. So I think these students should be screened out, not in a way of stigma and stereotype, but in a way that a further help can be provided to them if they are also voluntary to seek it, you know. And then the third level that comes is tertiary, where no matter what, you need a center to be there in every school, in every college, in every workplace as well. Now the laws and the policies are not talking about specifically of specific age group, but it's talking about all age group.